Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
Yep, good, thanks.
How was everybody's Wednesday? The sun came out in Dublin for the first time in, I think, at least 10 days, which has been a big, literally people are out like, is that the sun? Wow.
That big round thing in the sky.
That round thing in the sky.
They keep on saying on the news that there's going to be snow.
Oh, sadly, don't no.
They said on Sunday. They keep on saying it, but it hasn't arrived yet. So I'm hoping it doesn't come.
Oh, no. We need a bit of drying. You know, we need a bit of wind and sun and
vitamin D.
Not more water.
No, you don't want any wind. We've just had Storm Henk down here. The flooding's terrible.
Oh no. Oh dear.
So
are you affected by it?
I'm not, because I'm quite high up. I'm quite on the Mendips, like near Cheddar Gorge. But down in the Somerset levels, it's flooded everywhere. It's really bad.
Gosh.
So
no, not good. I think there is something to do. What is it? Some phenomenon? Is it the El Nino or one of those?
El Nino, it comes every year apparently.
Yeah. Just the weather just seems to be quite. Well, it seems to be the worst of the winter, so you would hope now that things will get better and.
Well, the days are getting a little bit, tiny bit lighter, aren't they? So
tiny bit. We'll hold on to it, Thaddy. We really will hold on. We need.
Got to think of the positive.
Got to think of the positives. Exactly. Anyone joining the Elite Mastermind for the first time? Do we have anybody new here with us this evening?
I think I'm new on the Elite. I might have sneaked into a Elite physical by mistake just before Christmas, but I'm finding my way.
That's okay. Yes. Well done. Good to see you, Edith.
Thank you. And Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I've just joined and my connection is very poor. I'm in a snow blizzard in Denmark and literally cannot leave the house or anything today. So the internet is a bit iffy, but
yeah. Well, you're coming across perfectly clear anyway. Now, great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And tell me, is it cold? I'm assuming if you've got that.
It's very cold. It's very cold. The wind is from northeast. So it's Russian wind. It's very cold.
That would really, that's a
but
stay
on Sunday I'm back in beloved Cornwall. So
excellent. Excellent. Yes. Do leave the snow there. Don't.
Yeah, I will. I promise.
Yeah. We appreciate that. Did everybody have a nice New Year and Christmas break and anything strange happen? News stories? Anything?
I just had so on Christmas Day, my sister decides to come from Australia to visit for a month, and she came on Christmas Day. No, she's coming on Christmas Eve, and then she forgot that the time difference has changed. You know, with them. She goes at 6:20 to 6:20 in the morning, and I thought, oh my god, how am I going to get all this Christmas dinner and everything done? So then I thought, I'm going to do this, and this. So I'll prep and everything. Then her flight got delayed, so it left Sydney late. So then a connecting flight she missed. Then she had to get another flight. Well, she'd already planned that in to get another flight done, and then she got to Heathrow at 3:45 in the afternoon. So I had to start cooking the dinner, leave, get my other sister and brother-in-law to carry on cooking it. And I got back and had Christmas dinner at 7:30 at night. So that was hectic.
And all this kind of stress of, and is she here? And is she going to be here? And what time is she here? And
that's it. So I kept on checking. Oh, is it landed yet? Is it landed? And it is. I don't know if it was worse to go in the morning. I think it was better if I went in the morning. Then I could have got the whole day. But I don't know. It is what it is. But she's here now, so
it's good. Yeah, made it in one piece, which is the main thing. Excellent. Well, nice to have family over for Christmas. Yeah, which we don't see very often. Excellent. Any other news or stories?
Well, I got a rescue cat this week.
Oh, do tell us more.
She's lovely. She's a little black and white 2-year-old. She's very shy at the moment. She's hiding under the sofa. But,
A
but
little bit
she's
of an
very
adjustment
cute.
period.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very cute.
And do you know anything about her backstory or?
Only that she was living in Wales and one of the kids became allergic to her. So she was brought over to Somerset and she was put in a cattery and she just went downhill really quickly because she'd never been in one before and hated it. And so then she was with her foster mum. And then I had her because I'm massively into like astronomy and the moon and everything. And her name was Luna. So I thought,
Lovely.
I can't not have her, can I?
No, that was a sign. Yes,
It
definitely.
was the universe going, this is yours.
Oh, well, fair play to you. That's your good deed for 2024. And of course, I'm sure Luna will give it back to you in spades once she knows.
Well, hopefully that's one of my first of many good deeds for this year.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, well, congratulations on your new arrival. And
Thank you.
yeah, fair play. Hopefully Luna will be joining in. We have lots of four-legged friends that like to join in on the masterminds, which is great.
I'm sure it's only a matter of time.
We'll get there. We will get there.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. And again, for anybody new, for the first part of our mastermind, we'll just be in the chat box when we're talking about our topic. We're going to go off to the breakout rooms and then we'll come back afterwards and we'll have a chat about our discussions. And we'll go ahead and get started. So tonight's topic, very important one. I could share my screen. Yeah, there we go. We are going to be talking all things self-compassion this evening. Okay, so let me just rewind for a second. When we think about the word compassion, let's just leave out the self for the moment. What springs to mind? Into the chat box, what springs to mind when we think about the term compassion? What do you visualize? What do you think about when you hear the word compassion? So Sheena is saying care. Oh, very good. Yeah. And empathy. Yeah, excellent. Very good. And Fia saying empathy as well. Great. And Sue saying kindness. Yeah, very good. We're being kind to other people. Love. Oh, excellent. Yeah, very good. And Tracy saying care. Yeah, very good. Again, these are all nice things. Yeah. And again, how we look after other people. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Okay. So when we think about compassion, right, and if we're to look at the definition, okay, what is it? It's linked to feelings of kindness, gentleness, which you all mentioned there. There's a couple more comments in the thing there. Thoughtfulness, Sheena, yeah, very good. And understanding, excellent, Tracy. Yeah, brilliant. So it's linked to feelings of kindness, gentleness, and warmth. So we can have compassionate feelings for other people. We can also experience compassion from others, which is something that we need, something that we like to have, particularly when we're going through tough times. And Edith saying, oh, tenderness. Oh, very good. Yeah, excellent. Okay, so we can experience it for other people. We can get it from others towards ourselves. And we can have empathy and compassion for ourselves as well. And this is what we call self-compassion. I'm just going to ask everyone if you wouldn't mind muting your microphones just for the next few minutes. You'll be able to switch them back on when we're in the breakout rooms. Okay, so compassion is a good thing, right? Kindness is a good thing, gentleness a good thing, warmth a good thing. But we need it especially in times of difficulty. We need it from other people, but we also need it from ourselves, right? But certainly when it comes through from ourselves, oftentimes compassion can be the last thing on our list when we're going through a tough time, particularly if we feel that we're responsible in some way or we've influenced it in some ways. So we have to develop compassion for ourselves, right? So we're not born with self-compassion, right? We're born with the ability to develop self-compassion. But if we don't work on it, then we're not going to be able to develop. And equally, if we don't receive it from other people throughout our early years, it can be very difficult then for us to develop it, which is why we have to work extra hard in terms of developing it for ourselves. So it has a powerful impact on our negative emotions. So think about sadness, think about grief, these different aspects, and our mood as well. And it also promotes our positive emotions. So joy, gratitude, and also gives us a good boost for our mood as well. So again, when we're thinking about our mindset and we're thinking about all the different parts of it, and we're thinking about our mental health and our well-being, there's lots of different pieces of the puzzle, right? And some pieces are going to be more important for you and bigger for you, and that's okay. And we have to continuously work on these pieces. They're not just going to show up. Denny has had a friend turn up. Oh, excellent. And do watch on catch up. And Happy New Year to you. Brilliant. Okay, so we know we've got to develop it. We've got to continue to work on it. And it also helps us in coping with setbacks and failure, which we're all familiar with, right? And we know on the journey towards our healthier lifestyle, we're going to encounter plenty of setbacks. We're going to encounter plenty of failure, and that's part of the journey. Nobody goes on this journey and doesn't experience setbacks and doesn't experience failure, right? So it's part of it, but it's not what happens to us. It's how we respond. So when we encounter a setback and a failure, do we beat ourselves up? Do we criticize ourselves? Do we put ourselves down? Do we compare ourselves to others? Or do we go, sheesh, we were struggling here. It's understandable that we're struggling because we're going through a lot right now. Not to worry, dust yourself off, get yourself back up on your feet, and let's try again tomorrow. That's what self-compassion looks like. So you've got two ways in which you can respond to the same situation. And what we want to be thinking about is what's going to be more helpful in terms of motivating us, and what's going to be more helpful in terms of, actually minding ourselves, our mental health and our mood and those emotions and things like that. So we know that there's increasing evidence that compassion is a powerful antidote to a variety of mental health difficulties, including depression and anxiety. So oftentimes, for those who are struggling, really struggling a lot with the likes of depression and anxiety, oftentimes they don't practice self-compassion. The concept of self-compassion might be very foreign to them, right? Okay, so that might be something then that we've got to start working on. And it's not an easy thing to work on, but it's going to be very important. So when we're practicing our self-compassion, we're turning compassion inwards. So in the same way, if your friend or your neighbor or your partner was going through a tough time, you'd say, geez, that's really tough. Hope you're minding yourself. I'm here for you. We'll get this sorted. There'll be a solution. Don't worry about it. All of that kind of good stuff that you do for someone else. Well, you got to do it for yourself. You got to turn all of that inside, right? So we're kind and understanding. Okay, we had a setback today. Not to worry. We'll fix it tomorrow. Rather than, well, you shouldn't have done that. And look at that. That just shows that you're a failure, right? That's harsh self-criticism, right? Which does not motivate us. All it does is tear us down. It tears our confidence down. It tears our motivation down. There's very few benefits to it. Now, we'll get it. We'll talk about self-criticism another day. But for the moment, right, it's not going to do much for us. We give ourselves support and encouragement rather than being cold and judgmental when challenges and difficulty arise in our life. So we think about the people that we care about, and when we offer them compassion, right, doing the same thing for ourselves instead of saying, well, why did you do that? That was stupid, right? The things that you wouldn't say to somebody who's going through a difficult time, but for some reason, it's fine for you to say it to yourself. So self-compassion, then, one of the most powerful sources of coping and resilience that we have available to us. So we know that life likes to come and hit us hard. And maybe some years it comes and it hits us a lot. And we might have one difficulty after another. We might be experiencing a lot of failures, a lot of setbacks, a lot of mistakes and things like that. And the difference is in terms of, well, what do we do? Do we say, well, do you know what? I'm going through a really crappy time right now, and I'm going to mind myself, and I know I need to practice my self-care, and I need to keep up with my healthy eating and my exercise. That's coping and resilience. Oftentimes people think that coping and resilience is just, oh, well, nothing bad is happening to me and I'm just ticking along nicely. It's not. Coping and resilience is, well, this crappy stuff is happening to me, but I'm managing it and I'm keeping going and I'm persevering. And that's the difference. And that's how we can maintain our mental and physical well-being. Of course, it's going to take a bit of a dip when we're going through something difficult, but we prevent it from taking a big dip. And it also motivates us to make changes and reach our goals. not because we're inadequate, but because we care and we want to be happy. Now, some people will say, oh, but self-criticism really motivates me. And to a certain degree, that may not be true. But the reality is that there's all sorts of consequences to self-criticism, which we'll talk about. And what actually was far more motivating, in the same way that if your friend had a setback and you'd say, listen, don't worry about it. Everybody experiences setbacks. Get yourself back up there now and get going again tomorrow. Right? We need to say the same thing to ourselves, because we know that's going to be far more motivating than, what did you do that for? That was a really stupid thing to do. That was a complete failure. You know, I'd just give up if I were you. You're not going to say that to your best pal. So why would you say it to yourself? Right? We've got to practice what we would say to those people. Exactly same thing. We've got to say it to ourselves, right? And that's what's going to help us. And again, reaching our goals, right? We're striving for healthy lifestyle. We're striving for whatever other goals you've set for yourself. And it's not a case of, I've got to do this to be good enough. It's doing it because I care about myself and I want to be happy. And those are two very, very different perspectives. Okay, so in terms of self-compassion, right, it can bring great benefits for our mental health and well-being. Can anybody tell me any good benefits that we might experience through practicing self-compassion? So what might be the benefits of self-compassion? Into the chat box. What do we think? Maybe you practice self-compassion on a regular basis. And you know, oh, it really helps me with this, or it really helps me with that, or maybe you're new to it, and that's okay too. Sati, confidence. Oh, very good. Yeah, excellent. In the same way, let's say that we're supporting, let's say a small person, a child who's had a tough, let's say maybe they were doing some sort of competition and they were having a really tough day. And they said, oh, and I'm feeling terrible. And we just say, oh, you did great. Yeah, okay, there's stuff to work on, but not to worry. We'll work on that in training and we'll get it the next time. We'll get it at the next competition. You need to say the same thing to yourself. And that's how we maintain confidence. Whereas if we said, well, do you know what? You did really poorly today. And that's probably just going to continue. So I'd just quit now if I were you. We're not going to say that, because that's going to wreck our confidence. So we've got to practice that self-compassion. Yeah, excellent. Very good. And Tracy, a calmer state of mind. Oh, very good. And we know, because if we're going through a tough time, we know how our mind might be racing and we might be worrying and we might be criticizing. And we might be self-compassion is, whew, let's take a breather here for a moment. Right? This is a problem and it's okay. We're going to be able to fix it. And we're going to do it one step at a time. And we're going to look after ourselves in the process. It's far more calmer. Yeah, absolutely, Tracy. Sheena's saying balance. Oh, very good. Yeah, because you can imagine if it's all just criticism, yeah, judgment, coldness, that's very, very one-sided. Yeah. And again, remember, when we're going through a tough time, it's not like, this is fine. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that image of there's like a little dog and the house is on fire and he's sitting there drinking his tea, like, this is fine. That's not our objective, right? We might be saying, this is a really tough time. I'm going through a really difficult patch, or I've had a setback and I'm really disappointed about it. But that's all right. And we're going to manage it, and we're going to come up with some solutions, and we're going to work to improve the situation. And that's balance. Yeah, spot on, Sheena. And Carolyn, keeps your outlook positive. Oh, very good. Yeah. Because again, if we think about judgment and we think about criticism and we think about all of those things, it's all negative. Yeah. Edith, oh, tolerance. Very good. Yeah. Tolerance of ourselves, tolerance of other people, tolerance of the situation. Yeah, because oftentimes it's a lack of, you know, oh, I can't deal with what's going on and I want to try and change it. Whereas this is a really tough situation, but I can tolerate it. Yeah, very good. And Fee, being understanding when it's less than perfect. Oh, excellent. Yeah, very good. And particularly perfectionists don't tend to be very self-compassionate. So if you do tend towards perfectionism, chances are self-compassion is something that you need to work on. Because if you're beating yourself up, that wasn't perfect, that wasn't even near perfect. Look at all the mistakes you've made. Look at all the flaws. There's no self-compassion in there, right? And that's not to say that we're going to say, oh, don't worry about it, it's all great. You might say, okay, not my best work, or okay, need to work on a few things, but not to worry. Let's try again. That's self-compassion. And encouragement to learn and to keep learning. Oh, very good, Sue. Yeah. And again, because it builds our confidence. So we might say, okay, just because this hasn't gone, to plan or didn't quite hit this target or whatever it is, doesn't mean I'm not doing the right thing. Doesn't mean I can't do it. It just means I've got to think about something in a different way. Maybe I've got to learn a new skill. Maybe I've got to change something in my routine. Maybe I've got to, do something different. Maybe I've got to ask for help. Yeah. Excellent. Very good. And Carol, it reduces stress. Yeah, very good. You can imagine you're going through a tough time, right? So usually, and this is kind of one of the comments here, is that our soothing system, self-compassion is really helpful for our soothing system, because when we experience a threat, and that's when we're stressed, right? Our brain and our body is saying potential danger. It's like there's an alarm going off. Potential danger, right? And you can imagine when you're up there in that stress, right? It's not good for us. And what self-compassion helps us to do is, okay, we're in a tricky situation right now, but there will be a solution and we're going to push through this. And also it might be, and actually that threat that you're worried about, probably not even going to happen. And if it does happen, we'll be able to manage it. So keep going. You're doing great. Self-compassion. Yeah, so absolutely. So it helps us to keep ourselves, right? Keep that balance as we were chatting about in the comments there. It lowers our stress. It stops us, our drive systems from being overactive, because we're saying, I get it. This is a tough thing. Maybe this is a new thing that we've never encountered before, right? But we can manage it. And even if you get it wrong and you make a mistake and you have a setback, doesn't matter. We'll get back to it. Yeah. Excellent. Well done, everybody. Okay. The opposite of self-compassion is self-criticism, right? So we get stuck in the self-critical cycle, right? And this is usually, we tend to be even more critical at times when we don't need any more criticism, at times when we feel we failed, at times we've made a mistake, at times we think there's some sort of threat, right? So we're already feeling anxious. We're already feeling angry. We're already feeling like we got a low mood, or we're feeling a bit depressed. And what do? Well, let me pile on some more self-criticism, because that will really help the situation, right? But again, that's often what we think. It's just what we learn. This is what we do, right? And what happens is then we get stuck in that stress. We get stuck in that high threat system, and that's not a fun place to be. So those who are highly self-critical, again, not necessarily something to be proud of, but it's worthwhile thinking, am I a highly self-critical person? Can certainly benefit from developing the ability to relate to ourselves in a more compassionate way. Okay, so if you are very highly self-critical, then it's generally speaking, in order to be able to, because we were talking about that in the comments, balance. If you're highly self-critical, there's no balance here. So we've got to bring down the criticism to bring up the self-compassion. And now we've got the balance there. It's not everything's great and everything's wonderful and I'm just perfect, because that's useless. But it's just like, okay, I need to find a balance in the system here, right? So the high self-criticism, if that's up there, you got to start turning that down. We got to bring it down, and we got to bring the self-compassion up as we go along. So let's have a look at what self-criticism might sound like. I'm such an idiot. I can't believe I did that. I'm so useless. I need to do better. I should be doing better. Other people don't make such stupid mistakes. I'm just not careful enough. I've never been careful enough. And now I'm failing and getting what I deserve. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Can anybody relate to any of these statements? Or maybe you have a particular example, a stick that you like to beat yourself over the head with. Fee says, I could have written that. So yes, Fee, this rings true. Yeah. You and lots of other people. It's a very common narrative. Sati, I used to do it a lot, but not as much now. Excellent, Sati. Brilliant. Yeah. Good to hear. And Edith, you resonate with that. Yeah, very good. And Carol, my favorite has been, I should have thought of that. Ah, hindsight. Marvelous, isn't it? Yeah, useless, but marvelous. And a great, again, stick to beat yourself up with. Yeah, very good. And Tracy, I used to be a complete perfectionist and learning not to be. Oh, very good. And you're absolutely right, because it's a process, isn't it? We have to unlearn, right? We think about perfectionism as a good thing. And I'm all for high standards, and I'm all for giving it your all and doing the best you can. But there's a sweet spot for that. And when you go above that, then you go into perfectionism. And what we actually see is everything starts to drop. Your mood, your mental health, everything starts to take a dip. Right. So what we have to be able to do is, well, I've been up here maybe most of my life. Now I need to come down. I need to come off the perfectionist level, and I need to come down to high standards or good enough or whatever it is you want to aim for. And that is a step-by-step process. We have got to learn how to be, more accepting of ourselves, more accepting of our flaws, more accepting of our mistakes. Yeah, very good. And Caroline, I can't believe I did that usually when I've done the same thing twice in a row. Yes, exactly. Because whatever about, well, I might be forgiving of myself the first time I do it, but the second time, now hold on a second now. Yeah, very good. Yeah. And Sheena says 80-20 will do usually. Yes, very good. Excellent. Spot on. That's what we're aiming for. Yeah. Okay, so look, reminder, we all say these things to ourselves in passing, right, from time to time. And particularly if you're prone to high self-criticism, you're prone to perfectionism, things like that, these thoughts will be more common. And they're also going to be, and I know Sati, you mentioned that working to improve that, which is great. And it's a process, because that just becomes a way of thinking. It becomes a way of being. And you have to work to start to turn that down. And it does, and it works. You got to keep at it, but eventually it starts to get quieter and quieter. So as humans, we're all going to say, I don't know, you drop a plate of food and you go, oh, I'm such an idiot. Yeah, that's normal. That's part of being a human. And you go, not to worry, pick it up, put it in the bin, start again, la, 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 right? It's not. And you know what? Do you know what else you did this week that was really stupid? And you know what else you're failing at? And then it just goes on into a cycle. That's where we're really struggling. And that's where self-compassion is nowhere to be seen, right? So the response to that is, okay, I just dropped my plate. I've had a very long day. I'm very tired. I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. It's just part of being a human. Not to worry, I'll try again. That's self-compassion. And Sheena, go back to the previous slide, of course. Bear with me for a moment. I just, no, sorry, I've gone forward a slide, which is, so we're going back a slide now. The opposite of self-compassion, self-criticism. And we'll talk about self-criticism more in later masterminds. But it's just important for us to understand, because we always want to know, well, what's the opposite of what we're aiming towards, right? Because that kind of gives us that measure. So you might be at one extreme, right, where you're thinking, well, I'm very self-critical, or maybe I'm kind of moving my way up. And again, what we're aiming for there is going to be the balance. That is what we need. Okay. So self-compassion, right. There can be a fear of self-compassion, right? And some of the reasons include, right, some of our attitudes. So we've talked about some of our attitudes that we might have. We might have attitudes towards certain places, towards certain people, towards certain things. But we can also have attitudes towards things like self-compassion. And we might say, oh, self-compassion, that's for the weak. Oh, self-compassion, that's for the lazy. Oh, that's self-pity. Oh no, I wouldn't be practicing that. Right. Okay. Where do you think we might get attitudes like this from? So let's say we've got negative attitudes about self-compassion. That, oh no, people who practice that are weak. People who practice that are lazy. Where do you think we might pick those up? Any ideas? Can self-critical if it gets too much? Oh yeah, very good. Yeah. And then it's self-loathe. Oof, yeah. And we're in a really, really poor place then. Yeah, very good. So Caroline, work environment. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Yeah. And think about why work culture is so important, because it does. Yeah. Is your workplace somewhere where people can say, I actually don't know how to do this, or I made a mistake, or I'm really struggling. And they go, yeah, not to worry. Yeah, sure, I'll help you out. Don't worry about it. Or is it, oh, no, you never asked for help. Just figure it out yourself. Yeah, very good. And again, remember how much of our lives we can spend in the workplace is very influential. Yeah. And Fia saying parents, oh yeah, very good. Yeah, excellent. So if our parents struggled with self-compassion, then oftentimes we struggle with it. Or if they have attitudes towards, oh, don't be feeling sorry for yourself. Right. And again, well, we pick it up. we're in the environment. Now, again, of course, we can change our attitudes, but oftentimes they're quite stuck in there, and we don't even think about it. Social media. Oh, very good, Carol. Yeah. And again, depending on, what kind of messages are being sent out there, what kind of feed you're on, things like that. Yeah, excellent. And social media really does influence our attitudes. I mean, there's a lot of work being done on that and looking at the influence of it and things like that. But I don't know if somebody wanted to say something there. Okay, so we know that it's going to be associated, right, with things like weakness, laziness, self-pity. And again, so if you're saying, oh, I'm really struggling with my self-compassion, it's worthwhile saying, well, is there some barriers here? Is there a reason why I might be allergic to my self-compassion? So what do we want to think about? People that you admire for their compassionate nature. Would you consider them to be weak? Would you consider them to be lazy? Would you consider them to be full of self-pity? Probably not, because you're in admiration of them. Look at how compassionate they are. So again, this is oftentimes where things don't really make sense. And oftentimes we form these beliefs, again, generally speaking, a long time ago, and we don't really think about where they came from or why they came about, but that's the reason. So reality is that self-compassion reflects qualities most people desire, and all of these were mentioned in the comments, which is great. Being kind, being supportive, being warm, being caring, being non-judgmental, being accepting, being generous, strong, stable, courageous, knowledgeable, understanding, insightful, resilient, persistent, tenacious, all of those good things, right? And again, we can also admire them in ourselves if we practice them towards ourselves, right? Great if we practice compassion for other people, but it's really great if we can also do it for ourselves. So we have to remember that these things are good. We admire kindness in other people. We admire people who are supportive. We admire people who are warm. And now we need to do the same thing, ideally, for other people. Imagine if we all did these things, the world would be a better place. But also we've got to do it for ourselves. So we have to think about our attitudes around making these changes. And it's not just self-compassion, right? Because you're on this journey and it's a very holistic journey and you're thinking about the different aspects of yourself that you're working on, that personal development, aspects of mental health and well-being. These things are not easy. Engaging in this work, it's tough, it's hard, but it's so worthwhile. But we have to think about, oftentimes we hit walls. Like, well, I'd like to be more self-compassionate, but I'm really struggling here, right? And there's a reason for that. And so we want to try and understand, I've hit a wall, and practice our self-compassion with the wall as well. That we don't say, oh, well, I just can't do it and I just seem to be struggling with it. It's a curiosity. It's a, So I would like to be more self-compassionate, but I seem to be struggling with it. Anytime I try to practice it, I seem to hit a wall. What might be going on there? So it might be, for example, well, my work environment, it's not a particularly healthy place. The culture is quite toxic. It doesn't encourage people asking for help or supporting other people. And actually, in this case, you're not allowed to do this, that, or there. And that might be, in some cases, that might be useful in work to not ask for help in some settings. But in lots of other settings of life, we have to show these things. So it might be, the environment I'm in. It might be, well, growing up, this was what we didn't talk about this. We didn't, practice self-compassion, or somebody is very influential that I have in my life doesn't think it's a good thing. So it's just worth exploring that. And then having to think about, well, what are your own thoughts on it? And what are your own beliefs on it? Okay, so what we'll do is we'll pop into the breakout rooms for a couple of minutes. And what I'd like you to think about is, what role does self-compassion play in reaching and maintaining our healthy lifestyle goals? Because as we were talking about earlier, right, when we're making these changes, when we're working on our mental health and our well-being, we're working on our mindset, we're working on our personal development, it's hard. It's a struggle, right? So we have to be saying, well, why am I doing this? Why would I bother? So, okay, self-compassion, but why am I going to engage in this? So we know it's going to be good for your mental health and your physical health, right? And we talked about some of the other benefits. But now thinking about it, focusing it specifically on your healthy lifestyle goals, right? What role does it play? Why might we need it? How might it benefit us, right? Both in terms of reaching our goals and working towards our goals, and then also maintaining our healthy lifestyle. Okay, so what role does self-compassion play in reaching and maintaining our healthy lifestyle goals? So I want you to chat about your own experiences with self-compassion on this journey. Has it been easy? Has it been hard? Are you welcoming it? Are you working on it? Has it improved? All of these different things. Okay, so I'll pop ye into the group, and we've got, okay, so we'll do 2 groups. I think that'll probably be, well, maybe we'll do. Okay, excellent. Off we go. Okay. Have your invitation there to join the group. Welcome back, everyone. How do we get on?
Right.
Good. Excellent. Okay. So we will start. Let's go backwards. Room number 3, which was Caroline, Edith, and Mel. Do you have a elected spokesperson, or if you all want to jump in? Mel, you're on screen. Go for it.
We thought, I'm trying to think what we were talking about. But actually, if you are, it'll keep you buoyant, so you keep pushing forward, as opposed to it holding you back if you are negative. So instead of it holding you back, you will keep pushing forward.
Keep you buoyant. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that? Yeah. Keeps you afloat. It's like a balloon sort of thing.
It's a really good way of thinking about it.
Uplifting, kind of. If you are kind to yourself. That was one of our kind of big things. Also getting rid of the stuff that you don't want to do, so it gives you more time to do the stuff that you do that you do like doing, so you've got more time for yourself. We were saying when we're younger, when before we had kids and things, you'd make time to go for a spa day, you'd make this, and then you end up caring for everybody else, not having time, and then all that sort of slides and you become bottom of the pack.
Yep. Down the bottom priority list.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're being compassionate for everybody else.
Yeah.
And then where's the compassion for yourself?
You can look after everyone else, but you forget about yourself, and then you end up not being well and exhausted, and that is one of my things I've learned to do. If it's not adding to my party, I'm starting to get rid of it. So if it doesn't make me happy, or there's something not necessarily happy, but something positive out of it.
Yep.
Why am I doing that? Because that's not compassionate to yourself.
Nope. Yep.
That was, get rid of the stuff you don't like doing, that you're doing because you've always done it, and do stuff that you enjoy, so you've got more time to do that. Because I think that's one of the things that I'm really bad at. I'll beat myself up for not doing things. So like my exercises, if I haven't done them all that week, I will be quite tough on myself, but I won't think, oh well, I've taken the dog out 5 times this week and walked 20 miles. It's that I haven't done my exercises.
There you go.
Yeah. I do need to look at, so I think being compassionate, being positive about the things you have done, and forgetting the things that not forgetting, but putting them lower down the pile. You shouldn't forget, because you need to do your exercises.
Yes.
But not making them the top of the priority list, the things that you haven't done. Giving yourself a pat on the back, I think, is
With the stuff you're doing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
In the same way you would for somebody else. Gosh, you're doing great. Fair play to you.
Absolutely. You look on the chat, the inner circle, and you're thinking,
Inner circle,
really, really, really well, and you're thinking, well, I haven't done that. I didn't look great in my Christmas dress, did I?
Gosh, in any way. You want to cut that out, Al?
But
well done. That was excellent. All right. Room number 2. Carol, Sheena and Sue, would you like to add anything there to what Mel popped in?
I think the only thing that we were talking, like, where does it come from, and how as women we almost have to be 200% better than any man. So you become critical to try and maintain that, you know, to get forward, and then you kind of, you judge yourself so harshly to try and keep, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
You said it so much better.
Very interesting perspective. Yeah.
Talked about coming up in very male dominated industries and how hard that was for us to do that, because everybody was out to get us. So you end up being really critical about your performance all the time, just because, you know, so you're always aiming for that perfection. Nobody can, you know, do anything to sort of undermine you when you've tried your best. And Sheena really said it at the end, and you just said it, Mel, about the pat on the back thing. I thought that was massive.
Take your hand and pat yourself on the back.
Yes.
Because we all deserve that. And
We do.
we were also talking about plateauing and how slightly demoralizing that is when, you know, you reach a certain level of weight loss, and then, you know, pounds go on, pounds go off, pounds go on, pounds come off. But actually, and what I didn't say in the group, actually, ladies, is when you see how far you've come downwards from where you started, you really do deserve that pat on the back. And it's, and I didn't say this either in the group, but you've just got to spin a silver lining out of that cloud.
I absolutely agree with you, Sheena. I think one of the things that I've struggled with TSD is the social media. It's not something I'm passionate about at all. I'm a very private person. I don't like posting things. And you know, for years of Facebook, there's all these people showing off about this, that, and the other, or just putting stuff on there as an attention seek. And it, you know, so
on the topic of influencers,
I have posted months ago, and you know, a lot of people resonated with it, but then loads of people came on and said, oh, I never really read this because I find it so demoralizing, because I'm actually not making that good progress, and I plateaued ages ago, and in fact I've put on loads of weight. And I went away feeling terrible about even posting a win then, because, you know, I felt like it negatively affected loads of people more than it possibly did in a positive way. And it's put me off even more on the social media side of things. And I just think that actually people within this TSD need some support about how to deal with that social media, and how to not reflect badly on yourself when you've seen things on there. That I've been quite lucky. I've had a reasonable trajectory the whole time. Yeah, I've plateaued now, but probably because I've hit the weight I'm going to get to, and probably won't go much less than this. But I don't know. I think it's a hard thing, social media.
I think
mastermind though. Let's do that. Yeah. Sorry, Sheena, go ahead.
I don't mean to cut across you, but I am a devil for comparison. I really am. And when I see some of the huge and marvelous weight losses on the inner circle, I also think, you know, I can't possibly do that. And I haven't done as much, and I haven't done the work, and I'm not doing 57 squats a day, and I'm not doing, you know, chin ups and pull ups and all the rest of it. And it's going back to what I was saying at the beginning, Aoife, about balance. It's looking at what I can do now that I couldn't do before. And so, yeah, I got a pull-up bar for Christmas.
Oh,
yes.
Hey, get that quiet.
And it's in my doorway.
Love
and
it.
My coach is Amy, and so I made her laugh, because in last week's report I said, every time I go past that blasted bar, I hang on it. Yeah, I've never been any good at upper body strength ever. I mean, I've got broader shoulders than most fellas, but and that's just physical fact. But I've never been able to climb a rope. I've never been able to pull up anything. So I'm now up to 12 seconds.
Wow.
I did see on YouTube a fabulous thing where you can do your Christmas decorations around your pull-up bar. and they look you basically dress them with your lights and your fur and things, and they look absolutely stunning. And that's about as far as I'd get with a pull-up bar, I have to admit.
Love it. Love it.
I love it. Oh, well done. Fantastic.
So
Excellent.
we had a bit of a laugh. We had a bit of a share in the group, and I think the sharing in the group is compassionate,
Yes.
and that's equally important to answering your question, Aoife.
Yes. Well done. Well done. Excellent. And last but not least, rule number 1. We're going slightly over time, but go for it. Do you have anything to add? These they were great discussions.
Where they're gone.
Well, we just said that it kept us going insofar as that, because of black and white thinking, if you're not careful, you can think, well, I screwed this up, I'm not doing as well as everybody else, I'm useless, all these kind of things. And then if you've got that self-compassion, you go, yeah, that may be true for about 10 seconds, or it may be true for the whole of today, but it won't be true of tomorrow. And so you kind of forgive yourself for your perceived failings. And then the next day you start all over again. It's a fresh start, it's a fresh day. And so the compassion thing helps you keep going. It stops you giving up, really.
And I love what you said there about perceived failings.
Well, it is, because it's all in our heads.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the other lady was saying, when you look at what you can do now, I look at what I can do now compared to what I could do a year ago. I mean, 110 kilo leg press, for example. I didn't even think I could walk into a gym, let alone do anything like that. You know, so it is celebrating those little wins every single day. And when you get a down day, it's all about going, yeah, okay, but it's just today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fee, wouldn't you say it's also about learning to identify the wins?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Looking for them instead of looking for the negatives.
I think that's when, Carol, you say about your social media and how you feel you're going, and it seems to be people that are really successful. And I think Amy's asked me to do something on the social media side to say, because my weight loss has been really, really slow. I've had weeks and weeks and weeks where I haven't lost anything, and then I might have lost a little bit. I've never put on, and I've always, I've lost, but it's been really slow. And I think I'm going to put it on there. I will sit down and put something on the inner circle about it. But I think I think it needs more people to come on and say, well, actually, it's not a perfect win. I've not gone and done 2 stone in a month. It's been a long time, but it's come off. And I think we all need to go on there and give an honest outlook of what we've done, rather than the perfect, like you say, I've done this many, squats and this, and I've lost this much weight, and everything's perfect. Because sometimes I think it reads like that. It's not intentional, but I think that's what it reads like. And if you're having a bit of a down day and it's not happening, you can read into it and, well, I'm not perfect.
I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Doing that. When actually it's a slow slog and we're all chipping away each day at doing things. I think if we went onto the inner circle and were honest and say, well, yeah, today's been a really bad day, but this is what I've done.
Yeah.
I think that's the view. I think that's what Alex is trying to say with the wins, is to get the wins, no matter what they are. But I don't think we sometimes don't put the negatives on there, because we don't want to upset people. Actually, I did this today, but then again, I did this.
Yeah.
I think we need to put some of the things that we don't do so well, but then we counteract what we did too well.
Tracy, from what you're saying, it could be like something that you've overcome. So you might think, you might be like, it could help someone else. Oh yeah, they might feel like that, or they might have done something similar, so they can learn from other people. But it is a good thing to put your wins on. But I get like what Tracy's saying as well.
Yeah.
I
mean, we were talking about Tough Mudder, wasn't we? We were saying that no one looks at what's going to happen. You sign up for Tough Mudder, but you don't look at what you're actually going to do, because you're too frightened to find out what it actually entails, because you don't think you're going to be able to do it. But then you listen to everybody else and go, well, Sati can do it, so I'm going to have a go.
I try.
Yeah, I know. There was a series of similar posts, but in different formats, and I posted one which was about looking for the glimmers.
Oh, nice.
So rather than looking for the win, you look for the glimmer, which is just
Yeah.
teeny
tiny
weeny
bit.
thing. Yeah, and that helps. That helps. And I had massive FOMO last year for not going to Tough Mudder. I mean, huge. So I signed up this year, and I'm
Yay!
booked.
Well done.
I still haven't signed up. I haven't signed up to it. I am doing it.
City.
But I've got the
Daddy,
hotel.
get going.
I've got the hotel, but I haven't because I usually share with Maria Pombo, right? So I've got the hotel, but I haven't booked the
oh, get on with it, Sassy.
I will do it. I'm not going to do it. It'll be my fourth one, so I've got to do it.
Sati,
Yeah.
what hotel are you booked in? Because I haven't booked a hotel yet.
You know the one near Heaton Park. It's a travel lodge.
Oh yeah, I'm there.
Oh,
Travel
excellent.
Lodge. I better book that travel lodge near
The
Heaton
Heaton
Park,
Park.
Premier Inn or Travel Lodge. I'm at Heaton Park somewhere. Okay,
Yeah.
I can't remember what I booked now.
And I'm sharing with Helen Bates.
It could be Premier Inn, it could be Travel Lodge. It's one of those. I can't remember, but it's one which says Heaton Park on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Hang on, I'll tell you.
What date is it? What date is it?
13th of July.
13th of July. It's on my fridge in big letters.
I'm still sitting on the fence.
Oh, get off it.
I'm off the fence.
Carol will get you off that fence. Don't you worry. Right, everyone make a
Come and
note of that.
socialise. Come and socialise with us.
I was going to come anyway because it's only in Manchester. It's not far from me, but it's whether I'm going to do it or not.
Carol, sign up.
Just sign up. It'll be a laugh. It's just nice to see everybody. It's nice to see everybody.
Right, guys, we're going to finish up for the evening. Well done. That was a great discussion. Excellent work. So keep up the great
Premier
work.
Inn. Premier Inn.
Premier Inn.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that. It's just it's Premier. It's either Premier Inn or Travel Lodge. I knew it was one of those.
It's definitely Premier Inn. I've just checked my booking.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I'm with what everybody else is. That's the same one.
Yeah.
Is everybody just going up the night before, or?
We're going up the night before.
I'm going up on Friday. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Right. I better get off my backside and book it then.
Yay. Get moving. All righty, guys. I shall see you in a fortnight.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Aoife. Bye, everybody.